Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Lance from NerfThis.TV, and today we're having a look at this, the new Bookbook from 12 South for the iPad Pro 3rd generation. Okay, so if anybody knows me, they know that I love 12 South's products. I have many of them floating around the office here, including the Bookbook from the previous generation, and I think I even have the one from the previous generation iPad. That being said, this is not really going to be a review of the new Bookbook, simply because I've done my own little hack to it to make it the way that I want it, so I'll show you that in a bit. But a little bit of history: the previous Bookbooks from 12 South, they're all really nicely made, leather, they've got that whole retro look. That is all standard. The quality, the manufacturer has always been very good. So I've always kept buying them simply because I like them and they are well made. But there's always been one little bugbear for me, and that is the orientation of the iPad. You'll see in the previous generation, your iPad Pro, your volume, if you are using it in this orientation, which it's actually made for, it's even got a nice little stand that flips out to bring it up to a nice drawing level for you if you're in a coffee shop or whatever. And it's got two, in this one, nice studs that'll clip it back and keep it nicely in position, so that when you're lying in bed you can obviously bring it up, and as you can see, it's in the perfect orientation for lying on your couch or wherever the case is and reading. And your pencil is a slot at the top here. So I've always disliked the way that they have the iPad the opposite direction to any other case. Let me explain. On this particular one, you'll see that your button would normally be here, as well as your charging point. So when you're using it in this orientation, your volume buttons are now right buried down here at the bottom, which is not convenient, to say the least, if you are busy lying on the couch or whatever. With this generation, it was something that you could get used to. You'd have to reach over to use your Touch ID, so that was all good. And your pencil was nicely securely put up here, because obviously the previous generation of pencil, you had to plug it in to charge it. So that wasn't an issue, which is why I kept buying this and using it for various iPads, and it was great. Let me just demonstrate here. Here's a Urban Armor Gear iPad case, and this is the case with virtually every iPad case that I've ever reviewed, had a look at, or used myself, is that your port for charging is always on the right hand side. This is actually a very good case. Your pencil fits snugly at the top here, which is great. But again, your camera is at the top left, your charging port is at the right. If we move on to the second case, you'll see it's exactly the same. And you can always tell that that's the orientation that it's meant to be used at, because obviously the stands all fit that way. Same as this one. So you've got your pencil at the top, nice place for it, and your charging port on the right hand side. This is normal. But as you saw, with the Bookbooks, they all are the other way around, which on the previous generations, as I said, not such an issue, and love the case. So I bought the new one for the 3rd generation iPad Pro, and this was the same problem. The only problem with this is that the clips that you had on the previous generation to hold this in, they work great. But on the newer one, because the case that actually holds the iPad now has to be a plastic case, because there's not this much room around the screen to actually do a leather grip like this. I understand that 100%. But now you only have one side where your Apple Pencil can charge, and that puts the Apple Pencil charging at the bottom along with your volume switches. Double the problem. Because now every time that you have it in this orientation and you want to read at night, because you now don't have these clips anymore. You have magnets. I don't know why they just didn't stick a section with clips on it again, but they decided to go magnets. And the magnets aren't strong enough to hold the iPad completely, especially when you're moving it around, jostling it and lying on the couch, etc. And it clips out and bends down, and it pops your Apple Pencil out. This got annoying very quickly. And to me, the solution was simply by turning it around and having your charging port on the right, not the left, and your Apple Pencil would now be able to be at the top here. But with the new one, they actually put in, you see this one doesn't have any camera cutouts or anything like that. With the new one, it does. So I decided I'd had enough. I wasn't going to deal with that anymore, and I literally ripped the case out and I stuck it back in with some super glue in the correct direction. The magnets still work, although they are still, not, as far as I'm concerned, not strong enough. But now you see my Apple Pencil is at the top where it should be. Charging port is at the right, and your volume is at the top where it's easily accessible when I'm using it in this mode or using it in the drawing mode. But to do this, I had to literally trash you'll see the camera cutout no longer aligns, because this was the first case where they actually had the camera cutout. And you'll see there's now the back of the plastic case instead of the camera cutout. Now, being somebody that doesn't use the iPad's camera ever, this is not an issue for me. But I would imagine that one of your friendly iPad photographer would probably have a real issue with this type of thing. Myself, I don't have that problem. So this is the fix. It still isn't perfect. It's still, with the magnet not being strong enough, you'll see it very easily pops down. I would have hoped that they would have put those clips in it. It would have been a lot more firm, a lot more rugged. I could be a little bit more abusive with it, but they didn't. So that's basically my little fix for this. I wouldn't recommend anybody does it. I mean, this is a €100 case, which is why I actually did it, because I was reluctant to purchase something like this and not get any use out of it. And I do like the design, I do like the quality. On the quality side though, that being said, I will just note one thing, that this was the first one that's come out to me where this doesn't align. If you could see there's more of a gap this side here between all the printing on the back of the leather than this side. It almost bends around the corner here, so they got a bit of an alignment issue there. The reason I decided to make this video now is they've just released their folio, which I went and watched some videos on it, etc., and it's got exactly the same problem. It's literally this exact design in every way, except it doesn't have the Bookbook design. It's just got that folio design with the rounded back and lighter leathers, so it doesn't have this harsh look about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe and all those lovely things, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.